And we are live. What is good, YouTube? This is your boys coming to you once again from Unapologetically Men. I'm your host, Max, aka Maximilian, and I got my co-host with me, Mr. Lando.
Going on? We up
What's
in here.
good,
We about to
sir?
do some damage tonight.
Right, right. So we're just we want to bring this live podcast to you to discuss a little thing we run into quite often when speaking with females on any kind of series of topics when it comes to speaking with a woman or about women, and it's properly titled "That's All She Wrote." Mr. Leonard, you want to explain to our listeners what exactly the direction we're going with tonight?
All right. Well, it's pretty simple.
Mhm.
Anytime you have a conversation with a woman where it's about not necessarily the women in question, but more or less general behavior, and we all understand what general means, right?
Mhm.
Women always want to use that pesky selective hearing to hear what they want and insert the word all when it was never said in the conversation.
Right.
So for instance, if you say, um, women do like hold grudges, you say women hold grudges. That's a generalization because I just said it. And as mature adults, we should understand that we're talking about a majority, not necessarily all women, but
Right.
women will take it as you just said, all women, and they do this all the time. Now, I said
Right.
it.
Yeah, exactly. Now, do you think that's a part of a shaming tactic to kind of like paint you as this type of villainization like that, like you villainizing women when they say that you're saying all when you never even suggested that to begin with? Do you think it's like a shaming tactic of theirs?
I think it's a little bit of two things.
Hmm.
Um, First, it's a deflection.
Mm,
The second thing is it they internalize it because they know that what's being said must apply to them in some way. That's
hmm.
why they feel like they must come out and defend all women
Yeah,
and
I
say,
feel the
well, not all women are like that.
yeah, yeah, I feel the same way. Like I think they anytime you want to speak on a topic and it's concerning women, the woman that you're speaking to always inserts herself into whatever situation you're talking about. Even if she doesn't even identify with that
Correct.
characteristic, she inserts herself into that mold and feels like she has to defend all women on that aspect. And
Yeah.
it's speaking, and you're not even speaking on all women. You're speaking on, and I like to combat that shaming tactic of a woman to instead of saying when she says all women, like you're implying that it's all women, I come back with her and say it's not all women, but it's enough women,
True.
and that kind of shuts them down a lot of times. So that's the type of and this came up today. Basically, I was discussing an issue when it came to I was speaking with one woman and she was saying that men don't know what they want in a woman these days. Well, if you take into account the large percentage of children being raised by single mothers, mothers out there raising sons or trying to raise sons, they generally do not educate their sons on the pitfalls of women
Nope.
and how they're how they can be detrimental to your livelihood. They generally speaking, at least in my experience, and I'm sure you could probably speak to this. They, a single mother will generally say, if you're a good man, you'll find a good woman, and they don't. So everything you project, everything you internalize, you project onto the woman that you're trying to find, not knowing that she could be one of those people that hold grudges. She could be one of those people that's manipulative. She can be any other insert bad characteristics of women out there. And I was speaking on that, and I was explaining to the woman I was speaking with. I said, "This is the things. This is why a lot of men don't know what they want in a woman because we look within ourselves to improve ourselves, and in hopes of finding a good woman, and not actually evaluating the women themselves. Like we evaluate ourselves and
Imagine if
internally.
women thought like that.
Yeah,
If their first impulse was to maximize their quality as an individual in order to find a man.
I don't think they do that. On a large scale. They
Like,
don't do that.
what, just imagine how different the world would be if a woman said, "If I want a good man, I have to be A, B, and C."
Yeah,
When in reality, what happens is all they just say is, "I deserve a good man because I am a woman,"
yep,
and that's all is limited to.
yeah.
It's like there's no requirements.
No, and it's often preached that women are goddesses, women are heaven sent, women are just inherently like if you look at your upbringing, it's often coming from a place that women are inherently good,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. That's the end of it. Like you don't
Nope.
get educated on a
If,
woman's manipulative tactics in order to secure resources from you, to secure provisions, to secure uh, um, offspring from you, even if you don't want offspring. Like they use all types of manipulative tactics to do these things, and
it's
so
very hard.
there's no guidance from single mothers on that aspect when you comes to sons trying to navigate the world of dating,
Mhm.
navigating marriage. That's often the case. Usually, you only get that from an old grandma. You know what I'm saying? You might get that from an old grandma who be like, "Oh, that hussy is not for you," that kind of
Mhm.
thing. But
But there's
that
no telling if that grandma used to be like that in her heyday.
exactly. So
You know,
is it one of those cases where you have to be one in order to recognize one?
there's always competition anxiety.
Mm,
The way I see it is like when the older generation of women look down on the younger generation of women,
hmm.
sometimes I start to wonder if it's just from a sense of jealousy to where they're like, well, I never thought of that when I was younger.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. I get you. I get
And,
what you're saying. Yeah.
and when it comes to like the true nature of women, it's like passed down from generations. Us as men never really get a clear clue as to what they're about. But the
Hmm.
interesting thing is, you find out a lot in allegory.
Hmm.
And it's funny because it almost seems like an exaggeration.
Hmm.
From religious texts, they don't speak fondly of women because they're talking about the nature of a woman. I mean, if you look at even like Shaolin monks, you hear fables about. I heard one in this kung fu movie. The
Hmm.
Shaolin monk was telling the young acolyte to beware of women, and he's like, why? I mean, women are fair creatures, and he was like, let me tell you a story about the woman. She was bathing in a stream, and a young monk came and beheld her beauty, and he was just dazzled, and he fell in love with her at that sight. And then when he went to the woman, she turned into a great dragon and ate him alive, and there was nothing left of the man. The moral of the story is, I'm like, God damn. So monks have a certain view of women. Even I get it now. So
Right.
monks abstain from women, not because they're like deadly beasts that will devour you, but
Right. Right. So like it's
they will have on a man's life is damn near the equivalent of it.
right. So that's kind of like that's kind of like preaching. That's kind of like educating a young son or a young soldier on the pitfalls that you can come across when dealing with women. So
Mhm.
not getting that education and then coming to a realization, that's what you missed out on life, and then you now are unplugged from the matrix, and you
Mhm.
see these things. When you say these things back to a woman,
The
she
first thing
then
that comes out is
internalizes
not
it, like
all.
yeah, like she internalizes that to say that you are saying all, and she interjects the word all into whatever you're saying, and it's just like, no, I'm not saying all, I'm saying enough.
It's
Like this is
all.
this is the
Because
experiences
here's
of
why.
women. Yeah.
Here's why. If they always have that response,
Hmm.
then it must be all.
Mm.
Because you ever think about that? It must be all if they always have this response when you know that you don't mean all and you never said all. But they have
Right.
this response that not all. So they're trying to protect the female imperative.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. That is probably at the nuts and bolts of it. The number one objective is to always protect the female imperative.
Oh yeah, because without that, how can they gain utility of men?
Yeah,
You
it's
know what I
it's a
mean?
survival tactic. So you got a mixture of shaming language, and it's a shaming language designed to uphold the female imperative, which is their survival tactic.
And you know what? I've also realized that women they use shaming language because they no longer have the skills to actually attract a man.
Mm,
You ever
that-
notice that?
right. I noticed that a lot. I
Like,
noticed that a lot when I've been out. It's just like you would think that a woman has certain tools to attract men, but
mm,
she does it. All she does know how to do is sit and look pretty, and that's
that's
it.
it.
Like that's it.
I mean, I remember
I think I lost you. Are you still there, sir?
a deal on the spot.
Okay, there we go. Got you back. You kind of cut out on me for a second there.
Oh, okay. I was saying that back in the day, I remember women having all kinds of talents. Like I knew women that could sing to the point to
Hmm.
where they could catch a record deal right on the spot.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like it was the type of singing that you felt like you were just in love from hearing their voice. Song of the Harpy, I guess.
Hmm.
But another talent is just the way they knew how to talk to you and they know how to create an environment. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? To
Hmm.
where it kind of like complemented the romance that you would bring.
Right.
But women don't have any idea what that's about nowadays.
No, it's because they don't. I mean, they're not being raised to be wives today. So
Yeah,
they're raised to be professionals. Like they're raised to be competitive of men, not to be a man's competitor, not to be a man's companion, so to
yeah,
speak. So they're not being raised to be wives anymore. So I think that's where that comes from.
yeah. So I mean, because the last time I remember being out with a woman, and I tried to get on a note of, so what's your take on a romantic environment? What's your dream date? Something along those lines, right? She
Hmm.
had no answer because she had no point of reference of what I was talking about.
Oh, that's just terrible.
Yeah, a lot of women are
Completely
like that.
terrible. They have no game. They have no
Yeah,
game. You
so
have to
it's
not only do you have to do all the work,
you got to do all the
and
thinking, you got to
yeah.
do all the feeling.
Mm.
It's like they don't have a pulse on anything. You know what I mean?
No,
And it
no.
kind of makes you wonder, like if you were a man that's still in the mindset of proposing to a woman, right?
Hmm.
And you get on your knee, you present the ring, you just lay out the scenario in your head that you think it's gonna just melt her heart.
Hmm.
But you don't know that she no longer has a heart because she wasn't raised to develop one. So her
Right.
first response is to be angry because she feels like she's being embarrassed.
Mm. I've
You
seen
see it
quite a
so
few of
many
those.
times
Yeah.
on the internet how these dudes proposing and they getting slapped and hit with ukuleles and ran out on and yelled at and all kinds
Right.
of other stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because these women don't know how to respond to the fact that a man is presenting his future and saying, "Here, you can have it." You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
And
Let's
these
share it.
women,
Let's build together.
right? And these women are just like, "Oh no, you're putting me on the spot. Fuck you. It's over."
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen
And
I've seen
and
that
and then
happen
when they
so many
and then
times.
when they talk about their biological clock, then they want to try to shame a man into marrying them.
Hmm.
It doesn't
Hmm.
work that way, ladies.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. So,
You
gentlemen,
catch them
if
on the
you're
eve
if
of honey.
right, so if you're ever engaged in a conversation with a woman, it don't matter what woman it is. It could be your mother, your sister, your
Hmm.
aunt, whatever, your
Man.
girlfriend, and if you have the dreaded friend zone girl, like
Oh
that's
shit.
another topic in of itself. Uh, just make a general statement. Just make just make a general observation. If you've been around long enough to date, enough women, then you'll know you'll start to understand their nature. And if you've been around the manosphere long enough, you've done enough research to understand the things that women do.
Mm-hmm.
I want you guys out there to do your own little social experiment. Say get engage into a conversation with a woman and say something of a negative characteristics that women present to men when it comes to dating or when it comes to interaction, and just watch and listen and pay attention to the timeline of when she either inserts herself into the situation to say
Mm-hmm.
she's not like that, aka the Nawalk argument, or when she shames you for saying it makes it sound like you're saying all women. So
It
just get
it
out
don't
there and do your own thing.
it don't even have to be like a argument or a debate. Women will
Hmm.
insert themselves every chance they get. You could be
Hmm.
trying to have a conversation about a movie or something that is objective that has nothing to do with you or her, but it's a topic of a conversation.
Oh, no doubt.
Trust and believe she will bring something up to where she wants to pull from her own perspective
Hmm.
that has no relevance to what you're talking about because she has no idea how to communicate without putting herself in the middle.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So with that said, gentlemen, you got homework to do. You
Oh,
know, do your thing.
bonus information.
Yes.
A lot of people, I just want to speak on the friend zone for a minute, real fast,
Go
since you
ahead. Go
brought
ahead.
it up earlier.
We
A
got
lot of
time.
people feel like, um, once they get in the friend zone, that's the end and they're fucked and nothing's ever going to happen.
Hmm.
There's actually a lot of keys to jailbreak out of the friend zone.
Oh yeah. There
One of
are
them,
some keys.
one of them, it may not result in getting pussy, but you won't be in the friend zone. You'll be out immediately.
Hell yeah.
So next time a chick wants to use you as an emotional tampon, just straight up be like, okay, I'll listen to what you got to say, but are we fucking afterwards? And then when she looks at you like a deer in headlights, that's when you're out of the friend zone.
Yep.
Don't even wait for a response. Just ask
That's
her,
like
be
a
like, you fucking afterwards, and then
right.
walk the fuck away.
Yeah. That's like an elbow from the top rope.
Seriously. Just say it, walk away. Don't even wait for a response. Don't
Hell,
don't look back.
hell, that could even be used as a shit test.
Exactly.
So yeah. Hey man, that's you guys nugget for today. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this thing up. I want to say thank you for again for checking in, tuning in. Hit the like button, hit the comments. Leave your comments if you got something on your mind. And this is your boy Max, and I got my co-host with me.
Lando, I'm out this bitch.
Peace.